I am excited to talk today with Alexia Sotomayor out of St. Andrews and also swimming for Peru, the national team out in Peru, and going to Arizona State this fall. So a lot of amazing things happening in her life and some pretty welcome. We aim to highlight inspiring people doing amazing things in the Swim Strong family and in the greater swim community. Pretty cool stuff that I'm excited to dig into. But before we do that, Alexia, we have to do our rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. First question. What is your favorite candy bar?
Hershey's.
Okay. How about your favorite cartoon character?
Oh my god. Cartoon character. um Jesus, nothing comes to
That's all right. I got you. I stumped you on one. All right, we can skip that one. We'll go to the next one. How about your favorite movie?
Revenge of the Sith, Star Wars.
Oh, Star Wars. All right. Are you a big Star Wars fan?
Yes,
Have you seen
absolutely.
all of them?
Yes.
Okay, I love it. How about your favorite post-championship meal? Like championship season's over, you get a little break. What are you gonna go for? It doesn't have to be healthy. Just I'm going to get this when I have a little break and the meat's over.
Any steak houses. That's the place I'll go.
Yes, that's awesome. Love it. How about a podcast that you listen? Your favorite podcast at the moment?
I don't think I actually hear podcasts or
Not a
watch.
podcaster. All
No.
right. Well, maybe it'll be this one after your episode comes out. Awesome. All right. Last question for you. If you were not a swimmer, what sport would you be doing?
Oh. If I was not a swimmer, um, maybe one of the ones I did before, probably either tennis or track.
Okay. Oh, you used to play tennis and
When
did
I was
track and field?
very young, very young.
Okay. Gotcha. Awesome. Well, you did great. You did great with the rapid fire questions. Those are not easy. A lot of pressure on those. So it's fun to get to know you a little bit. Thanks for doing that. So we're gonna go ahead and jump in a little bit to your story. I want everybody to be able to get to know you a bit more. So if you wouldn't mind, just give a little bit of background. Tell us about yourself, kind of how you got into swimming, and a little 2-minute snapshot of the beginning up to where you are now. I know it's a lot of information, but just so people can know your journey a bit.
Got it. Well, I started swimming very, very young. My mom was part of the national team for Peru as well. That's pretty much why I got into swimming. First of all, it was more to like learn how to swim, like safety wise,
Yep.
and then because she was a swimmer and like they always saw me like splashing around, like just for fun in the water. They're like, all right, like we'll get into swimming.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that was like the first time I was in the pool. Actually, was when I was like 6 months old. I was very, very young, and I started actually swimming maybe like when I was like 3.
Okay.
Made junior national team when I was 12, and then in the same year got into the national team.
Wow. When you were 12.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, I thought you were gonna say you said I started swimming I really started swimming I was 3, which is super young, and and then the next thing you said was national team. I was like, how young were you when you were on the national team? That's crazy.
Yeah. And I was pretty much all my life with the same coach until I was like 15. It's my childhood coach back in Peru.
Okay.
Then I switched for a year in Peru, and then I came to the United States at St. Andrews. I'm a boarding school student, and this is my third year here. And
Okay.
now I'll be going to ASU next year, so I'm very
Awesome.
excited.
That's exciting. So tell everybody a little bit how you made the decision to go to ASU. Why was that the place that stood out for you?
So I started doing my research in college. Pretty much college was the reason why I wanted to come to the United States at first. Um, and all the research came up with COVID. Um, when I was very young, I really told my parents, like, all my family, I want to go to US and like go to college, and that was like the pretty much it was gonna be the first step into coming to the US. Um, but later on, COVID got me opportunities that I discovered. Like I ended up coming to St. Andrews 2 years later because of that research. And well, we said, okay, maybe coming to St. Andrews will give me like more opportunities. And I also extended my recruitment for a year because in Peru we have 1 year less of school.
Okay.
Uh, like our senior year would be in 11th grade, so it's a
Gotcha.
little different. So that also gave me a little bit more time to decide what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Then later on, just started getting into the research, kind of like see what I wanted to study, maybe. Um, like trying to see what I did not want to study. That was the pretty much how I started to discard. All right, I don't want to do this or don't want to do that. And when I like started leaning towards like, all right, I definitely want to go to school in the US. And well, when my sophomore year ended and my first year here, we kind of like started, okay, like we have to like do all the like interest forms and all of it. And we got into some research, and obviously there were some big names around, and like kind of like swim was pretty much like the all right, I want to see like rankings or like who is in, who is out, and kind of like learn from that a little bit, and then just like kind of filled out a million of the forms just to like just to like get to know programs and
Yeah.
like learn a little bit more because I was pretty much a little bit in the air at first. And well, over the summer I took it really easy. I was just taking it slow, and when I started scheduled visits, when I visited ASU, it just felt like home. I mean, I felt like it was the right place because it was similar to the process I did with the high school when I started visiting schools.
Mm-hmm.
I visited both and St. Andrews, and yes, it might have influenced that I did have friends that I knew before, like really, really close friends, that they gave me the references for St. Andrews and both.
Mm-hmm.
But the connection when I swim with St. Andrews, I felt like it was my home and it was the place I wanted to go.
That's cool.
And with ASU was the moment I set foot on campus. I was like, I think this is the place I want to go.
Very
And
cool.
I actually called my parents because they were not in the visit with me, and I said, I think this is the place. And well, the offer was in, and I was like, I think I'll take it. And we ended up accepting, and I accepted the offer while I was in the visit.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah,
That's
like it was
awesome.
really quick on that, but it did really feel like that was the place. Like the philosophy when I met the coaches and the team itself, how I connected with the girls, and it was just a really good vibe, and I really loved it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. When you get to, and I hope everybody in the college recruiting process right now here's kind of just that feeling of like you want that. This feels like home. You know, it's like there's some really good programs out there. There's some incredible coaches and good schools and all that. But like for you, it has to be something that you feel like it's home and that they are family and that they care about you. And like honestly, more than anything, for any of the people that we have the privilege of working with, I would just want people to love the spot that they're at. Because if you love the spot you're at and you're with a coach who cares, the sky's the limit. Like there's no limit to what you can do. So super happy for you on that. And ASU, shout out ASU. They're on the rise right now. They're bringing in a rock star and Alexia and so many other people. And so it's just exciting to see what's going on out there in Tempe. But can you talk a little bit about one of the things that caught my attention as you were just sharing briefly your story? Swimming at a national level at age 12. Talk to me about handling the pressure of that as a young athlete. Was that something that you dealt with? Did you feel that a lot? Was it ever tough for you? I just want to hear a little bit of your mindset of being there at such a young age, or if you were just like oblivious to it.
Well, it kind of like started to upgrade as it went. It was all in 2019 when it started. Um, 2019 we had South American Junior Championships, and initially the age group for it is 13, 14, and 15, 17. But in the moment I was 12, and
Okay.
they made an exception because it was more like a 14 and under age
Okay.
group. So they did allow me to race, and it was the argument with the national team. It was more of because I did not even race like the trials for it because
Okay.
the trial requirement was to be in the 13-14 age group, which I was not.
Gotcha.
And they used like the 12 and under nationals times from that championship in 2018 to qualify the team. And they sent out an email with my coach because it was practically the three main coaches from the like power teams in Peru
Hmm.
that's gonna like make the decision federation. And they argued that I could potentially work a little bit more for the relays and add some of my individuals on it. And it ended being all the experience. It was in Chile, and well, for people who know, in South America, it's more like the Peru Chile rivalry is like
Is it big?
very intense there. So it was a lot in kind of like, oh my god, we're going to Chile, and it's gonna be like a good meet, and it's gonna be fun, and getting the gold medal on the first day on my first event, it was a huge deal. I swam the prelims, and it was just, I felt really good in that pool. It was cold. It was really cold. It was very cold. And then I remember going into finals, kind of like the walkout, and it was just everything was so hype.
Hmm.
And from prelims to finals, I ended up dropping 2 seconds of my best time,
Dang.
and taking the gold for Peru.
What
Um,
event was that?
that's 100 back.
So you were not only technically they made an exception to the rule just so they could bring you because you were 12 years old, and then you came and you won a gold medal. So I think they made a pretty good decision there. That's got to be an incredible feeling. But yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I just had to interrupt there for a second. Continue.
And we kept adding. They added the relay. We got silver. Then in the next day, I swam the 50. No, the two back, and I got bronze in that one. We swam another relay. I think it was the 800 relay on the middle day. It was a 5 day meet.
Hmm.
Then I swam the 50 back, took gold again, and I
No
swam
big
the
deal.
free and got on the final again. Did some points for the team, and I think we got fourth overall. I'd say
Wow.
I can't
Cool.
really remember, but we were up in the ranking, and we got a few medals. In total, I came back home with six.
Wow.
And initially, after that meet, like 2 weeks later, it was Pan American Games trials, and that was where the meet I qualified for. But again, I was not eligible to swim the trials because of the age group. Because for Pan Americans, they said the minimum age to race, or like to kind of like, they said like, if you wanted to get invited with the B cut, or like there was a national time requirement,
Hmm.
you had to be 14 or 15.
Okay.
But if you make the A cut, you would be eligible no matter the age.
Okay.
And at the moment, I didn't know that I made the A cut on South American juniors. And when they swam the trials, we were three girls who were in the cut,
Hmm.
but it was a tie for me and another girl. So we both ended up qualifying. But we all debated, me, my parents, and my coach in the moment, if it was the right decision to go to Pan Americans, because again, it was a lot of pressure. It was a
Hmm.
big meet to
Yeah.
be in with 12 or 13 years old.
Yeah.
So, but the only reason why pretty much we said it was fine for me to go, it was because we were hosting it. It was in Lima, in my home city. So it
Okay.
was pretty much an opportunity we couldn't miss. Um, and it actually comes back because it's an argument that we said, oh, it's probably like we probably will never happen again. Like the chances of us hosting in my home city, my home country,
Hmm.
Pan American Games, the chances for it to be like in the next, I don't know, 12 years maybe, the chances of
Hmm.
it is really like low.
Yeah.
And actually, Colombia just they left they're not the host city anymore, and we are now again
Oh,
for
wow.
7. So
That's cool.
exciting that we're gonna have that. But I mean, Pan American Games was surreal. It was the first time I ever saw like all those big names everywhere.
Hmm.
It was actually a wild experience to have at home. I made the final for the 100 back. I was
Wow.
extremely hyped with it.
Wow.
Um, I was super happy, and especially feeling like all the crowd at home, and a lot of like there was a lot of like social media and like news and all of it. It was a lot to deal with, I gotta
Yeah,
say.
I bet.
But kind of with my parents, we managed really well the like kind of measuring that into like for it to like that it did not become a stress for me during the meet. So if anything, it was just after I finished the
Okay.
races, because there was a lot that they were like, okay, we want to like they wanted interviews before the meet, and it was a lot to deal with, especially because we had like a pre-training camp in the village, but it was still limited, so they want to just like keep it chill, not like stress too much, just
Yeah.
to see what could happen, because it was all for the experience.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, the biggest story on it, like it's a really I will always remember it, and I actually have it here. But in the last day of the meet, I was not supposed to do the relay for the medley 400 mixed relay. I was
Okay.
not going to do it in the finals. And I ended up being selected to do the relay, and I was in the warm ups of that last session. And Cody Miller was around giving, like, I mean, I saw like YouTube videos, like,
Mm-hmm.
huge name for
Yep.
swimming. And I was like, oh my god, like this can't be real. Like, and I
That's
actually
awesome.
got featured in one of his vlogs because of the village. We were walking around,
Oh,
and
cool.
he was saying hi to a bunch of people. And in the warm up, I accidentally slipped in the backstroke start. The wedge fell. It was not placed correctly, and it's the new ones, and it
Uh-huh.
fell. Like it was not clicked right,
Mm-hmm.
and it fell and it cut at me here on the
Oh
lip.
my gosh.
And I mean, I got out of that, and like I got in the water. I was like real upset. I put a little ice on it, and I was just like walking around. And like, I went to talk to my coach like right before the race, let's say like an hour maybe before going to call room and changing and all of it. And I like it was on deck, and there was like the seats. It was the coaches seating, and then just like athletes that were next to the coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just walking past the athletes, and he said, and I hear somebody say, you. I was like, who's like who? In the moment, I was thinking, who is speaking to me in English? Number one. Number two, who is pointing at me? And I turned around, and it was him. It was Cody. And I was like, what's going on? And he was explaining that he was giving away a bunch of stuff from the team, like the USA stuff they gave them from
Yeah.
like the meet. And he ended up giving me his parka,
Oh,
the
that's awesome.
massive USA parka that he had, and
Oh,
and
that's
I just like I totally forgot about the cut. I totally forgot about everything. I was just like, okay. It was something like I like will never forget. It was
That's
just
awesome.
it changed a lot, and then I was just so hyped for the finals, and it was
That's cool.
awesome. I mean, it
That's
was
really cool.
insane.
That is
And
a that's
now
an
I mean, I see him around, and I'm with the parka, and he still remembers it, so it's actually fun.
that is really cool. I mean, it's an awesome story. Like you never know how much it might mean to someone else younger than you to just do something like that, a really kind gesture, a word of encouragement, anything that makes a memory, a picture maybe with somebody like. And I'm sure you experience that now too. People that you are that are like younger than you, and look up to you, that you can kind of encourage and bless in the same way, and kind of make their day in the same way that Cody Miller did for you. I mean, that's awesome. So going through those experiences, being extremely young and performing really well at those meets for the amount of pressure that would be there, and then you said the social media, kind of was. Um, kind of blocked out during the meet. So then how about after? So you've now just kind of turned into a phenom for the country of Peru in like a couple of weeks. and kind of made a name for yourself, but still super young. And that would be, it's hard for anybody, even, professionals mentally, to really handle all the different pressures and social media and people's eyes on you and all kinds of different things like that. What was that like for you, at 12, 13? Like, was it really hard, or did you feel like you had some really good mentorship at a young age to deal with it well?
I think like a lot goes with how my parents and my coach really like taught me through when I was really really young.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because they helped me manage a lot of uh like the interactions with social media. I've been active in social media since very young too, so
Mm-hmm.
a lot of like kind of like learning how to be careful, kind of like know what to say. Um, but kind of like they helped me like how to limit a little bit like the moment for it. Um, and I mean, it was just pretty much trying to keep it real and just saying what I really felt on that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually something I also do with school. I mean, every like a lot of times when we have presentations, I'll do all the work and I'll be like, all right, I have the work and I'll just deal with it in the moment and I'll just have it ready in the moment
Mm-hmm.
and kind of like come up with a speech for that moment because um I don't know, it kind of like it doesn't feel so real if I have something really prepared on. Um, so I just kind of like to surprise even with what I can say. So
Mm-hmm. So you more enjoy like kind of being able to just kind of share your life with other people, and those moments of pressure are more like something that, is it fair to say that you enjoy moments of pressure? Like when the pressure is the most, do you feel like you thrive under that and like
yes,
really are, it feeds you?
yes, that's definitely something with me. Um, a little bit on that is especially how like I could maybe even get nervous of doing a presentation at school,
Mm-hmm.
like in front of I don't know 10 classmates
Sure.
and the teacher. I'll be more nervous on that than actually swimming in a stadium in front of people. 'Cause in the moment when you swim, I mean, whenever I'm on the pool, I already know what I've been training on, especially if it was tapered. That's also a
Yeah.
very good there. If it was just like on the moment I'm in the season and kind of like knowing what I already did on practice and like only transferring it into what I really sending it all out on the pool when I'm behind the block, just sending it and kind of like knowing where I can go. I mean, I've always worked really methodically with my coaches before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, since I was very young, my coach Maddie back in Peru, she always would make us go 10 and under. Everyone would have to go to her up to her. She was a head coach in the moment, and January 5th we start swimming again every single year, and she would ask us, okay, have your goals for the middle of the year for short course nationals, have your goals for long course nationals by the end of the year, what things you want to do to improve, and what things you're looking forward to do.
Hmm.
And it was like all key things that we needed to do since like a very, very, very young age.
Okay.
And whenever we had like um camps and stuff over the summer, uh a lot of times we did get in they would bring with the our team over there. It was the race club with Gary
Okay.
Hall.
Yeah.
And I remember I was probably like 8 or 7 when we started doing like all the like mentoring with like visualization and all of that stuff that really like
Wow.
it really helped to build up for big meets and like even in the smallest meet on a dual meet or just a time trial where
Hmm.
I'm sort of alone to worlds or big trial meets. Kind of like to know that it's me in the lane line and the line underneath,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just trying to focus on what I already did and just focusing on the things that really matter in the moment and then just enjoying the vibe.
That's so what you just said you started doing when you were 7 or 8 years old is what some people haven't even done till college. I mean, like the visualization piece and really focusing on that and the mental skills side of the sport is so vital to unlocking your potential and being the best that you could be And I think also in having full enjoyment of the sport, all even through the ups and the downs. You know, swimming can be a pretty emotional, pretty unforgiving sport sometimes. And when you know why you're doing what you're doing and you have a mindset around just a good perspective on the sport and how to frame everything, you know, you look at all the moments differently. And I think that's amazing that you started doing that at a young age. And I hope that, you know, everyone listening really takes serious the mental side of the sport, the visualization, training your mindset, because that is a game changer. And so that's pretty incredible. And kudos to you and to your coaches and, you know, family who all supported that and got that going at a young age, because that, I have no doubt that helped prepare you for some of the things you went through a few years later, when you started with the national team and now all the way up to where you are now. Can you speak to maybe one of the greatest challenges like that you faced in your swim career? You've had like pretty awesome success. What's like something, a moment or something in your career that you feel like this was a little roadblock or something that was extra challenging that you had to fight through in a different way?
Especially now that you mention it's all on the mental health side.
Hmm.
Um, the past year and a half, I'd say, practically all 2023, it was a really hard year for me.
Hmm.
Um, it built up to mid this year in 2024. Um, I got to the point that most athletes do get at some point. Everyone gets it at some point. I started getting stuck. Um, like I didn't know what else to do to
Yeah.
pretty much. I was in that block where I kind of mentally blocked myself into I don't know what else to do um, during the practice, and I had a lot to deal with on personal and some stuff within stuff that happened with other people,
Hmm.
and kind of like a lot of stuff was getting even outside of the pool was in influencing a lot in the pool,
Hmm.
and especially because swimming is um the place that I go when it's my moment where I get out of everything. Like it's the
Yeah.
place where like even if the whole day was really bad, the moment I get into the water, I just try to forget about it. It's like the
Yeah.
safe place, I say.
Hmm.
And over that time, it can like even transferred into that. And that's when things were not really going well because it really affected me through it. Um, it was hard to do and just um unfair stuff happening and like just things I really couldn't control
Hmm.
really started to make me lose control. I could not like really handle it, and especially I mean as a 16, 17-year old,
Hmm.
obviously it was not hard, it was not easy to
Yeah.
manage all of that. And
Hmm.
well, especially being away from my parents and being at a boarding school, it was not the easiest. And well,
Yeah.
um to get out of it, um, I had to make a really kind of like strong decision into going home and just being with my parents, my family, which was something that really helped me in the moment.
Hmm.
It kind of started to build up as in like I started to realize how like I needed to take control of what I could do. Um, I couldn't control what the other people did or the decisions that were made, and it was just I had to kind of filter that out
Hmm.
and kind of leading towards that. After Doha Worlds this year in February, March was a crucial point, and the school actually gave me the facilities to continue online.
Oh, cool.
And I went the first week of April, went back home and did the remaining of my junior year online. I was doing everything like similar to homeschool, but still on the system from St. Andrews.
Yeah.
Because it was a big game changer. My family had to move back to Peru, so it was a lot of moving stuff around. So, because my family did move to the U.S. For a period of time, they were here for a year and a half, almost two
Okay.
years, and they had to move back. And well, in the perfect moment, kind of like I was in the fight for the one spot for Paris for Peru,
Hmm.
and it was a lot to deal with. I cannot really. took over on my mind too much. And well, the decision was made that things were not going really well till Doha.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a moment to make a change. Like I needed to make a change, get out of environment and be more with my family and do a lot of stuff that I really needed to do, and especially family bonding wise.
Mm-hmm.
I got an extended summer, but in Peru, which was winter. Um, got my family moving. We got a new dog and all of that, and we are just like all the little stuff that we did together, kind of like distracted me out of the really like messed up, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
So that did help me up. And going back to my childhood coach, I think her more than anyone knows me and the way I work.
Yeah.
Um, from the moment I jump in the pool, she knows exactly every single detail, or on the way I'm standing, she knows how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of helped me lead towards getting back into my best or super close to my best times again in 2 months, 3 months.
Wow.
And it was just a lot on the fact that I was close to my parents again. Kind of like being at home, like that feeling of like with my parents, it was the thing I needed the most in that
Yeah.
moment, and they helped me out of it.
Very cool.
And well, qualification ended, and yes, things were still going on. Some things were fair, some not. And well, reset the program and start over. I took 2 weeks off after the qualifiers and started back up, getting back to training. Really, really hard training on my home team in Peru, and
Mm-hmm.
then just leading back to senior year here, thinking on it's senior year, things are back to normal, and I feel like everything's going better than we thought, and kind of being back on that track of getting out of it with the necessary amount of help that I needed in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that I needed those breaks. It's important. It was important that I needed to feel that I wanted to be back in the water. Like
Yeah.
there was just a point where I was just, it was so mentally draining that it was too much to handle in the moment where I could not just swim.
Mm.
So taking those breaks really helped me to get back on actually wanting to be in
Yeah.
that practice, getting all the work done.
Mm-hmm. That's
That
great.
really learned to manage that and being back at it. And now for high school season, practically over. We have states right now, pretty much. We're leaving tomorrow and racing Friday. Um, and well, I raced over the summer. Um, Short course meters nationals and did my cuts for short course worlds in December. And
Awesome.
I mean, kind of like things I learned towards that. It was how like a lot with Quinn over here and Sid. They, whenever those moments happened, I would switch a little bit on my events. They would send me. That's actually how I got into my second event for high school now, because I did not used to go past the 50 fly. That I would never do the 100 fly. Long course, short course, yards, meters. I would never do it before 2022. It's not an event I would touch.
That's funny.
And 2 IM either. And I would probably go in all the backstrokes or maybe freestyle, but I will not think of IM or fly at all.
Mm-hmm.
And now that they told me, all right, we're playing with this, and kind of like every single moment that it was just like this season, for example, that we started taking it easy and just like pretty much trying to chill with the moment, trying to just start over and try new things. Um, Practically the whole season, I've been doing the 2 IM with some other random event that we would pick that day for a dual
Mm-hmm.
meet. And especially my season was very short, um, because I had age group Pan Americans end of August and the first week of October South American Championships. So in the middle of the season, managing that plus dual meets, it was not a lot of dual meets. But the moment we picked for districts, regions, and states for the state series, went back to 100 fly, 100 back, and
Awesome.
now gearing up for that. I'm very excited.
That's really exciting. We can't wait to see how that goes and for you to just enjoy that moment, your senior year, and being able to just throw down, have fun, and race. I really appreciate you sharing the struggle, because I think a lot of times people don't get to see that. You see what you see on social media, and it seems, you know, you see all the good stuff and like the accomplishments, but people have no idea what's real, like all the things you have to go through to get there, the challenges, the obstacles, and the down moments. And so really appreciate that. And you mentioned something too. I think one, it is really important to take breaks, mentally. We hope you're enjoying this week's podcast. We want to take a quick break to shout out our sponsors. Attention, all high school and club swimmers and divers. Are you ready to take your talents to the next level and dive into the collegiate scene? Look no further than ACC Recruiting, your premier destination for college swimming and diving recruitment education. At ACC Recruiting, we specialize in connecting student athletes with the perfect collegiate programs that match their skills and academic aspirations. Our experienced team will guide you through the recruitment process, providing personalized support every stroke of the way. Don't let your dreams sink. Visit ACC Recruiting today and make a splash in your future. Dive into success with ACC Recruiting, where champions are born. Visit our website now or call us at 314-518-8844. That's 314-518-8844. ACC Recruiting, your gateway to collegiate swimming and diving excellence. Resistance bands are a must-have for dryland. Elite Athlete Power Band kits are designed to give you a cost-effective way to improve performance and reduce the risk of injury. These high-quality kits last longer and are versatile enough to provide total body workouts anywhere, anytime. The levels of resistance are ideal for progressing youth athletes without weight increases that are too large. Go to the link provided on the Swim Strong Dryland website, click on the Training tab, and search Equipment Suggestion Lists, and get your Elite Athlete resistance bands today. Mentally and physically, to just remember and discover who you are outside the pool, because you are, I say this all the time for anybody who listens, but you are not a swimmer. You are a person who swims, right? Like very different things. Your identity is not in your swim times, and you're so much more than what you do in the pool, like so much more. And so I think it's hard to remember that when you spend so much time, effort, and emotion pouring into it. And also, I think I want to ask you about this too, because it is pretty unique. And I know there's a lot of people who experience this too, but a lot of people might not really understand. You uprooted your entire life to come to the United States and train in high school, which is like a really not an easy time to make that. And there's never an easy time to like move to another country, right? And your whole life has changed, and the culture is different, and the people, you don't know anybody, and all kinds of different things like that. But language barriers, like all kinds of things that many people have never had to struggle with or think about. Can you talk a little about that? Like how was that for you coming to the USA? Was the transition really difficult? Has it been easy, somewhere in between? What's that been like for you, that so people can know a little more about that?
Yeah, so it was a process where my freshman year I still did it in Peru, and we were decided that I wanted to go to the U.S. Initially, we were planning on going freshman, but COVID kind of delayed that, and we wanted to wait a little bit more. And well, my parents were the ones who pretty much just supported me on that. I was the one who pretty much said, I want to get out of here and I want to chase this dream that I have,
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty much because the opportunities that I had in Peru, like they were really slim,
Mm-hmm.
with the choice of club or team that I had in that specific moment. It all kind of matched to me. We did the research over COVID. It was either going to the UK or coming to the US.
Mm-hmm.
And we leaned towards the US because I knew people before. I shared team with both the Bowie siblings. Diego graduated last year and Josh a few years ago.
Cool.
And kind of they're really close with my family, and kind of like they helped me in that process. And actually the way I decided to come to St. Andrews was because there was a qualifier up in Orlando. Before it was Panama Aquatics, it was the UANA, and it was with the Sura. They organized this qualifier up there,
Mm-hmm.
and I ended up going there, but only because I needed to get the COVID vaccine. I needed doses of the COVID vaccine, and actually they matched that one was right after the meet, and I would stay for 3 weeks so I could take my other shot,
Okay.
and I would swim with St. Andrews,
Mm-hmm.
and like that was before I applied just swimming because I knew these friends and they were like, oh, you can stay here and just swim because we know you need to swim.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, a year later, I did my application and ended up coming here. Obviously, it's a huge sacrifice for my parents to let me go the
Yeah.
second I turned 16. And it's a huge change because now it's only my younger brother with them and my dog.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a big change, but they know I've been going crazy to chase my dreams. And they knew I wanted to go to the US, maybe not that early, but they knew it was on the plans. And one of the most like I'd say like the reasons, but it's I told this to my grandma when I was like 6. I'd say I was very very young. I think we were watching one of the Olympics. That it was London, I'd
Mm-hmm.
say, and I told her I okay, it's a little touching. Um, we were watching them on her house, and I said I want to be there. I want to go to Olympics, and it's pretty much I think the dream that athletes want to get at some point in their life. But not only going to the Olympics, it's aiming to get a medal, or in my case, making my country proud, and just trying to get the best possible. Which in history for Peru, it's been only few. It's
Mm-hmm.
5, 6 medals in every sport
Yeah.
history. So
Wow.
it's something not everyone can accomplish, especially for a country like Peru. And that's the dream I've had pretty much since I've been in the
Awesome.
water.
That's
And
awesome.
the most important part of that speech, I cannot that conversation with her, is because my grandma struggled a lot with an addiction to cigarettes
Mm-hmm.
in that moment. And I told her I will go and I want to go to the Olympics at some point of my life and I want you to see it. But if you keep smoking, you won't be able to. And my 6-year-old self never thought of the consequence of that, and she never touched a cigarette again. And
Wow.
she's still here.
That's
I'm
awesome.
actually the number one fan on the stands whenever she can go see me,
That's incredible.
and it's just that special bond with her because she was also a lot involved in the aquatics. On when she did sports as well, and kind of like it's all on those dreams that I like all my family supported the way of coming to the US.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean they knew it was gonna be hard adapting to a whole new world, living with roommates, a whole new country, new language. And even though I did speak English before, obviously it was on the basic of how you learn a language here. I mean, I'm taking Italian here and I wouldn't say I'm fluent on it. I do have understanding of it, but I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't say I'm fluent.
Sure.
But it was I mean I was fine with it, but obviously it was not the same of knowing a language than actually having to live and practically try to turn it into a first language.
Yeah.
And because it's the one I have to use every day with roommates or with school practice, and getting my ears ready to like be on English mode all the time. So kind of like all that process was it was hard the first year. It took me a lot on the academics first. I was stressing a lot on that on my
I
first
can
year,
imagine.
but then I realized how like I mean with time could tell. Then I just got adjusted to it, and it really helped me on the way there.
Well, you first of all have fantastic English, so you would never know that that was only a couple of years ago. That's absolutely insane because I have tried for a long time to learn Spanish, and I can tell you it does not sound nearly as good as your English does. So it's pretty impressive. And coming to school and learning in not your first language is something that most people don't have to experience. Get coaching in not your first language is not something that a lot of people have to experience. Just friendships in not your first language, like it's just a whole new thing that most people don't even have to think about. And so for anybody who is thinking about, you know, making that type of a sacrifice, making that type of a jump, obviously for you, it's really powerful because you want to chase your dreams. You're like, I don't care. I want this. I feel like this is my best chance to do what I've been dreaming about since I was a young kid, which I think is absolutely incredible, so admirable and inspiring. And I hope a lot of people do that and don't fear like what the challenges will be. But in terms of like those challenges that a lot of people don't have to face, what advice would you give to someone who may be like, hey, yeah, it's scary, but has it been worth it for you? Like, what's the advice you would give to someone maybe in your shoes? Because you took a lot of risks that are really scary, and a lot of people might have not done that, right? But you did, and you're still doing it, and I think that's incredible. But maybe what advice would you give to your younger self or someone kind of considering the same thing?
That it is absolutely worth it. I mean, I feel like having that opportunity to put yourself in a position where you have a goal, and I really think goals drive everything. I mean, if you don't have a goal in life, you got to find a reason to actually live and look for something. And kind of like that's the motivation I have for everything in my life. Swimming outside of the pool, and my friendships, and everything I have in my life. And being in that position where it was risk of if I actually got adjusted to the language, if I like the culture, if I actually fit it right on the team, if the program worked for me. There's so many what ifs,
Mm-hmm.
and so many what could happen. And there's that feeling on you when you go to a place, and or you hear about a place, and there's some, like it kind of calls you a place, and it's magnetic, and it kind of pulls you into it. And it's really something that I feel like it can be scary, but it's so worth it. I mean, even when things get harder, I mean, there's always progress to it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
one keeps learning and keeps learning every day. Nobody is perfect,
Mm-hmm.
and you keep learning every day from every experience. Every blink that happens, every second that happens, you learn something new. And
Yeah.
actually, that's something that I specifically marked this year.
Hmm.
Um, After this Olympic cycle, I actually got tattooed. I have a tattoo there.
Oh, that's awesome. What is it?
It okay, so it has two meanings. Um, the letters are in Japanese. It's Kaizen, and it's a philosophy of constant progress. It actually translates to good change or constant progress.
Very cool.
So it's pretty much a philosophy where you believe in the constant improvement, at least a 1% every day.
Hmm.
It's looking for something not specifically on the sport, but on your life, getting a little bit of improvement every day, trying to be a better person, trying to be a better athlete, or helping someone, or just having some improvement in your life every day, trying
That's
to live with that. And the little fishies are koi fish, which
okay.
actually go to this legend that I heard when I was very young, of how koi fishes are the only type of fish that can swim against the current. And it's kind of represents on how in my case swim
Mm-hmm.
um against like all the like difficulties and get through them to the goal that is for them. It was like the top of the
I love
water.
it. I love it. That's awesome. I the meaning behind that. I love hearing stories behind tattoos and things like that too. It's usually something. I mean, it's not always something super deep. Sometimes people just love the design, but I love hearing when there are stories behind it. It's usually very meaningful and much more meaning than people would ever know. And I appreciate you sharing all that. And kind of, I want to wrap up just by asking something a little bit more about you personally. You have obviously inspired a lot of people over the course of your career. You've represented Peru, you've represented your family, your club teams, and some in so many different ways. And you have a pretty strong social media following too. So a lot of people like get to kind of be a part of or witness your journey. Um, but I'm wondering too, with everything that everybody sees, versus like what they don't see. I'm wondering if there's something that just day to day or something that you think of consistently that you're like, I wish people understood this about me. I wish people knew this about me, because it's impossible to portray on social media. It's impossible for someone who just sees my times on Meet Mobile to know this. Like, what's something you wish people knew about you or understood about your life that you've thought about before?
Um, kind of like now that you mentioned the mid mobile part, kind of like a lot of people I know swimmers. I've trained with swimmers that incredible practice swimmers, but they freeze at the moment of race,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people just don't see that. And I've been through that at some point in my life too, where I would be so ready on my practices, hitting really good times, hitting best times.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that happened last year. I would be hitting best times during practice, but it just at the moment of a race it just wouldn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of stuff that if you don't know it and you just watch a screen and watch a time, you really don't know what's going on.
Mm.
Okay, be like, oh my god, like they just broke a world record, but they don't know what really was behind that, right?
Mm. Yeah.
Like maybe times where you were like super sick or I don't know. And it's just like it's a long process that kind of like, yeah, I mean, it's good to have your little notifications on your mobile to know what people are up to.
Sure.
But I mean, practice wise, I mean, people won't often see how people wake up at 5 in the morning to jump in a freezing pool outdoors in the winter, or go go late at night, or swim when you're sick, or race when you're sick, or
Mm.
doing things for your team because you want to help your team on a dual meet even though you're feeling really really sick, or you're just not feeling well, or you're just not on the right moment.
Mm-hmm.
And people just really kind of skip that side of when they just watch the swim cloud or mid mobile.
Mm-hmm.
They see like the little up and down, but I mean it's the up and downs. But
Yeah.
especially on the preparation of a meet, I mean, especially during the season, some people can hit crazy times on dual meets, and or some people have to wait till championships. But I mean, if people really focus on every single time that people swim, some people suit, some people don't. I mean, sometimes you do know if people suit it, some people you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people just, there's so much you don't see on social media, or people post old pictures, or I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. And even I've done it. I've posted old photos before,
Mm-hmm.
and just because I didn't have anything, but I wanted to post something that day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a little bit of how, like, I mean, maybe you're in your best moment ever, but it's just not it's not the moment for it at the race, and it's not pictured for the world,
Mm-hmm.
but you do know it on yourself and your
Yeah.
coach see it. But
Yeah.
it's important to know. I mean, I feel like a little bit of that. I mean, it's good that it's not portrayed in social media, because it kind of does build up the pressure into yourself if you keep posting it,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of like let the moment shine when it needs to shine. I mean,
Yeah.
I truly believe on like the God's plan, and like if it is for you, it will be for you, and everything will point towards that moment. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
everything will be aligned for that moment.
Very cool.
And that's something that I feel like it's important to kind of like learn with time. I mean, nobody's perfect, but you can just learn with time. And as you grow up as a person and as an athlete, you know the moments for things you have to do, some things you probably won't like to do, some things you need to leave behind, some things you have to do even you don't like them. But it's important to know that, especially because I mean, a screen and mobile might say something, it might be mean, it might mean a lot to you,
Mm-hmm.
but it really depends on what you're doing in the pool with yourself, and outside of the pool taking care of yourself as well.
Yeah. I What you mentioned about like the lines, the progress on Swim Cloud, and you see the times I mean mobile, and you can see stuff on social media. I think ultimately, like it's not that any of that is like wrong or anything to look at those things, but it's that you just don't understand the depth of who someone is with those things. And I think that danger of social media and our like everybody's connected society is that actually we feel so connected, but we're actually super disconnected from each other because a lot of it's fake. Like a lot of it, we don't have real genuine relationship. We don't genuinely understand, Alexia, what you go through, the challenges, the downs times, the up times, like knowing you as a person. I loved how you said when you got to spend some time with your family and your coach growing up, people who really knew you like that. That's very different from someone who follows you, right? Someone who knows you is different from someone who follows you. And you can't replace that. And so I really hope like everyone listening and anybody who does want to like, have a social media presence is an amazing thing, but it's really important to have your people, like the people who are by your side, who will be with you no matter what, not just the people who are with you when things are going well, right? Those are a dime a dozen, but the people who will be with you no matter what, that's what really matters. And so being able to just stay grounded in the people that are most important to you and your identity of who you are outside of the pool, I think is so important, because you could look at anyone's swim cloud progress and that little dash that goes up or down, you could have 10 million stories that you could tell in there. It's so much more than that. And I've, not to get like super deep, but I've said this about like gravestones before too. Like you have your birth date and your death date and a dash, and like your whole life on your tombstone is represented in that dash. And it's like, oh my gosh, like that's, the story is so much bigger. Like the story of what you did with your dash is like so much bigger than just, I was born here, I died here. Like what will you do with that dash and how will you make it meaningful? So relating that to Swim Cloud, how will you make those ups and downs meaningful? Who will be the people you impact? What will be the lessons that you learn? How will you grow as a human? Those are the things that I hear you saying here, and I think it's beautiful. I think it's an amazing thing, and I hope that people really understand there's so much more depth than what you just see out there, but it's still amazing to get to utilize platforms to inspire other people, but just remember there's a lot more depth to people like Alexia and anybody that you see on social media and that you see them doing, because there's a lot of sacrifice that goes into it. And so Alexia, I so appreciate your time. It was awesome having you on here. I can't wait to see what you're going to do, not only with the rest of your high school career here, but then going into college and beyond. I want to see you achieve all the dreams that you just shared, and I want your grandmother to be there with you and be able to cheer you along. Thank you so much for the time. It was a privilege.
Thank you so much.
You got it. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch a new episode each Monday. You can also check us out on social media at SwimStrong Dryland. If you would like to join the SwimStrong family, visit our website at swimstrongdryland.com.